This is Tableau Desktop, and we're going to be doing the introduction activities for Module 1. The scenario over here is that imagine you're studying data about library usage and costs worldwide. The first step to analyzing this data, you need to connect to your data source, an Excel file, using Tableau Desktop. So the steps in this activity start off with number 1. Open up the software, and this is what you see over here. And on the Start page, click on Excel. Global library data is the Excel file that they provide for this activity. So you click on this to open it. That's step number 2. Step number 3 is that when you open up to the data source page, you see the tabs that are available from the Excel file, and you can drag one of them over into the Open Drag Sheets Here area so that you see the information over here in the data pane. When you look at the previewed data and check that everything's fine, then you go to Sheet 1 to start working with the information. And that concludes Activity 1. The scenario for Activity 2 says that now that you've connected to a data source for global library data and you want to explore the data for analysis, you want to build 2 views, a bar chart, and a crosstab. Then use the views to answer questions about the data. So step number 1 is to create a bar chart with total library fields on columns and region field on rows. So total libraries is a measures field, which means that these are numbers that get aggregated to create this length. And then we divide this length with the dimension, which in this case is the region. So we split up the length into multiple rows, which are decided by the dimension. Step number 2 is to sort the view by total libraries in descending order. So as soon as you have a view, you have ways to manipulate it. We can sort by descending order, ascending order, or leave it in alphabetical. But the step number 2 asked us to put in descending order. And then step number 3, give the worksheet this title, Total Libraries by Region. So when you double click over here, just like with Microsoft Excel, you can rename the tab Total Libraries by Region. And then when you name the tab, it shows up over here because the sheet name is over here. You can even add in extra information in like a smaller font. Here is extra information. And you will see it over there. Step number 4 is to click New Worksheet tab to start a fresh worksheet. So we've created one view, and then we want to create another one. For this next one, we want to build a crosstab, which is basically a table. So we're going to drag our dimension that we want to have information about. So we want information about all these countries. And then step number 6, we want to add measure data, drag and drop expenditures into the view. When we bring the measures into the view, we see how these measures relate to the dimension. Item number 7 is to drag and drop total libraries field into the view to the right of expenditures. Then step number 8 is to drag and drop total users, then total volumes into the view. Total users and total volumes. So now we have all of this information about each of the countries. And we want to, step number 9, sort the view descending on expenditures. So when you have a bunch of information over here, you can sort by any of the fields over here. Step number 10, name the worksheet country details. And that is the second part of the introductory activity. Activity 3 is to share library data in a dashboard. So the scenario here is that we've built two visualizations, a bar chart that shows data by region and a cross tab that shows additional values by country. Now we're going to combine these views in a dashboard, and you can share with the colleagues. You'll make the bar chart act as a filter to help people explore data for specific regions by countries of interest. So the first part of this is to create a dashboard. So in the first step, we connected to a data source. Then we started manipulating the data to make it visible in views. Now we're going to be creating a dashboard with this icon over here. When you look at the dashboard, when you're creating a dashboard, you get to see whichever views that you've created. You drag them into the view. And step number one was to create a dashboard with two views, placing total libraries by region on top. We already did that. Step number two is to resize the country details view so it fits the width of the dashboard and it's a bit taller. When you have a view selected, you can change the way that it looks, the way that it fits into the dashboard. You can fit it to the width, you can fit it to the height, which is not very good actually. We're just going to fit it to the width of the dashboard and we're going to make it a little bit taller. And you see over here a scroll bar appeared when we scrunched the total libraries a little bit. So we're going to bring this down a little bit to give it the space that it needs. And then we want step number 3 to set the total libraries by region view to be used as a filter. Setting a view as a filter is a pretty cool functionality in Tableau. When you have a view selected on the right upper side, you have this icon over here to use this view as a filter. So when we click Asia, for example, only the regions associated with Asia will populate. To make this example more concrete, if we picked Oceania, these are the values that pop up. And when we click off of the value, then the filter dissipates. Step number 4, explore the data. Select a region and use sorting to see different values in the cross tab. Okay, so if we looked at Latin America and we looked at expenditure by dollars, oh, it's already sorted by expenditure. Let's look at total libraries then. So if we're descending by looking at expenditures by dollars, Mexico is number 1. But if we look at total libraries, Brazil is number 1. If we look at total users, Mexico is number 1 again. If we look at total volumes, Mexico is still number 1. So Mexico is number 1 in everything except for total libraries, where Brazil is actually number 1. Pretty interesting. And then we want to title the dashboard and include instructions. So this is country library data. And over here, you can say select, the font changed when I deleted. Select a country, filter the crosstab. And that is the activity number 3 in the introductory Tableau activities. So in this video, we've connected to a data source and we picked which tab we wanted to get information from. We made a couple of views and we saw how you can sort through them, as well as connected to a dashboard or created a dashboard with a couple of views. We made some adjustments to it, and that's what we're going to save.